3 lines and you're on Claude. Change the base URL, the key, the model name. It turns green. It runs. And it just silently threw away the 3 things you switched for: prompt caching, strict schemas, extended thinking. It works. It also threw away why you switched. Welcome to AI Tech Book. Today, how to actually move an app from OpenAI to Claude, the API shape, the tools, the prompts in about a week without shipping a downgrade. Here's the map for the week. There are 2 paths to Claude, and the whole mistake is taking the first one for the second. Path 1 is the bridge, the OpenAI-compatibility endpoint. Point your existing SDK at Claude's URL, swap the key and the model, and your code runs in minutes. But Anthropic says it plainly. This is for testing and comparing, not production. Path 2 is the destination, the native messages API, where the request, the tools, and the prompts actually change to fit Claude. The smart move isn't picking one. It's using the bridge as your day 1 smoke test, then walking the destination path the rest of the week. So what changes first? The shape of the request, and 3 changes catch everyone. First, the system prompt. On OpenAI, it's a message with a system role inside the list. On Claude, there is no system role. It's a dedicated top-level field. So you lift it out. Second, max tokens. Optional on OpenAI, required on Claude. Forget it, and the request fails. Third, and this one breaks code quietly, the response. OpenAI hands you a string. Claude hands you an array of typed content blocks, text, tool use, thinking. So you stop reading message content and start iterating the blocks. The conversation itself still maps 1-to-1, same user and assistant turns. Lift the system out, add max tokens, read the blocks. And if you were streaming that answer, the stream is a different shape, and so are the signals you read at the end. An OpenAI stream is a flat run of chunks. You concatene it until done. Claude streams named, typed events, a message starts, content blocks open, emit text deltas, and close. Then the message finishes. So a simple concat loop becomes a small state machine, though the SDK stream helper hides that for the common case. 2 more signals shift. You stop branching on finish reason and start branching on stop reason, which has a richer set, end turn, tool use, max tokens, refusal, and usage reports input and output tokens separately with no single total. Now, the part most migrations get wrong, your tools. Tools are where a migration really bites. The definition, the round trip, and the rules all change. Start with the definition. OpenAI wraps your function in a type function envelope. Claude is flat, name, description, input schema, then the loop. On OpenAI, the model's arguments come back as a JSON string, and you reply with a separate tool role message. On Claude, the call is a tool use block whose input is already a parsed object, and you return the result as a tool result block inside a user message. There is no tool role. 2 rules trip people. The tool result must come first in that content array. And if the model made several calls in parallel, every result goes back in one single user message, split them, and you teach Claude to stop calling in parallel. And you keep looping while stop reason is tool use. But what about forcing clean JSON out? Wasn't Claude missing that? That's the outdated belief that derails migrations, that to get guaranteed JSON from Claude, you have to fake it with a tool. Not anymore. Claude has native structured outputs, generally available, and there are 2 distinct levers. 1, output config format with a JSON schema. It constrains what Claude says, so the message itself comes back schema valid, no tool indirection. 2, strict on a tool. It constrains how Claude calls your function. Independent, use either or both. Here's the mapping that matters. If you relied on OpenAI's JSON object mode, map it to output config format, not to a force tool, which would hand you a tool use block instead of your answer. 1 catch. Claude's strict schema subset is tighter, drop unsupported constraints like min length and maximum, and additional properties false is required. So the API fits now. Your prompts just carry over, right? They'll run on day 1. They just won't be tuned for Claude, and one old habit now hard errors. Anthropic says it directly. A prompt you tuned hard for OpenAI is tuned to OpenAI. It works, but for Claude's best, restructure it. Wrap the distinct parts in XML tags so Claude parses them cleanly, be explicit, and say what to do, not what not to do. 2 specific traps. First, pre-filling, seeding the reply by adding an assistant turn at the end, is no longer supported on current Claude models. It returns an error. Replace it with structured outputs, or just instruct, respond directly, no preamble. Second, the aggressive you must. This is critical style that forces behavior elsewhere, makes current Claude overtrigger. Dial it back to a plain use this tool when. Now the part that pays for the whole migration. The features the bridge silently dropped are the ones that pay for the move, and on Claude, they're opt-in, catching. On OpenAI, it's automatic, stable prefixes just get cheaper. On Claude, it's explicit, you place a cache control breakpoint on the stable part of your prompt. The economics reward reuse. The first write costs a premium, but cached reads are 1/10 of the price. So a no-op migration doesn't just miss catching, it pays full price. Add the breakpoint and verify with the cache read token field. Thinking is the same story, native and powerful, but you turn it on. Current models use adaptive thinking with an effort level. 2 gotchas. The bridge ignores OpenAI's reasoning setting, and inside a tool loop, you must pass the thinking blocks back untouched. Everything's ported and tuned. How do you know it's actually as good? You don't assume, you measure. Because you changed the model, and a model change can move behavior both ways. So your old pass rates mean nothing until you re-earn them. Define your success criteria. Run an automated eval suite on a held-out set, and A/B the migrated Claude system against your OpenAI baseline. Grade with code where you can, and LLM judge where you must. Only when it meets the same bar do you cut over, and even then, in stages. A slice of traffic first, watching costs, latency, cache hits, and errors, then ramp. The evals are your only proof the switch was an upgrade, not a regression. That's the week. Let's put it on one screen. Day 1, smoke test on the bridge, then reshape the request system to the top, max tokens, content blocks. Day 2, the stream and its signals. Day 3, the agent loop and native structured outputs. Day 4, retune the prompts and wire up catching and thinking. Days 5 to 7, rerun the evals and cut over in stages. The compat endpoint gets you running in an hour. The native API gets you the model you switched for. The green checkmark was your start line, not your finish. That's the migration. Move the shape, retune the prompt, prove it with evals, cut over in stages. If this saved you a week, subscribe to AI Tech Book. More migration and architecture deep dives are coming.